Run.
Welcome once again, my fellow manipulators of digital fate. I'm Richie, this is Capricorn. Today's deck is... you don't even understand. You don't even understand how crazy today's deck is. This deck is called the Swarm. And the idea here is we're building Rat Tribal, which we did try out during early access, but we found the secret sauce to make this deck really, really sing. Not only are we using some rats that kind of flew under the radar during early access that we knew were kind of good but didn't realize how good they were, but we're utilizing Mockingbird. And lately, I've been on a kick trying to figure out the absolute best ways to use Mockingbird and trying my hardest to bend, maybe even break Mockingbird. And any deck where you have really, really powerful, cheap creatures that get even better in multiples and maybe even get even better with flying is where Mockingbird can shine the most. Because that's where it can cost less than your traditional clone spell used to cost and can come down and get you an insane amount of value. So rats is perfect for it. And some of these win conditions, some of these cheap rats that are just insane in multiples are just absolutely insane with Mockingbird. So we'll break it all down with the deck tech in just a minute. Before we do, make sure you like the video if you haven't already. It's you guys liking every video that has helped this channel to blow right past 10,000 subscribers, and I am super grateful to that. But every single like counts, so if you wouldn't mind just smashing that button, it does mean a lot. I do appreciate it, and I don't just say that, and I don't take it for granted. Also, if you're new here, make sure you subscribe so you never miss an upload. Duskmourn spoiler season is right around the corner, and we are going to hit the ground running with a ton of crazy spoilers. If you want to find out what's coming in Duskmourn, we're going to make sure and have ours up as soon as we possibly can. We might be the first ones to post our spoilers, to be honest, because I am going to be on top of it. So look forward to that. And also, catch me live Monday through Friday over on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/quarantinedcapricorn, because if I'm alive and I'm breathing, I'm there and I'm streaming. This video has been brought to you by Wonders of the First, but I'll tell you about that later. Let's break down the deck. Alright, this deck is absolutely bananas. I'm on a kick right now trying to find all of the best possible ways to use Mockingbird and the best possible decks to sort of craft around that card to make that card as valuable as possible. So we do have 4 copies of Mockingbird here, 1 blue and X for a 1/1 flyer, and when it enters as a copy of any creature on the battlefield with a total mana value equal to or less than the total amount of mana you paid for Mockingbird. Now, if you just pay the 1 blue mana, you can copy a token or something that costs 1. You don't need to pay X as extra, which is what makes this so good. If you want to copy one of your 2-drops, you just pay 1 blue and 1, and you copy a 2-drop, and it also has flying. So this thing is really, really good, specifically in decks where you have very valuable 1-drops and 2-drops, and to a certain extent 3-drops, that get even better in multiples, or get even better with flying, or doubly better with both. That's where Mockingbird's really going to shine. So Rat Tribal is absolutely insane with Mockingbird because there's so many insanely good cheap creatures that if you have multiples of, just get absolutely nuts and go completely off the rails. So we're going to start with some of the new cards here. First off, we have Persistent Marshstalker. This card blew me away. Absolutely insane. Underestimated it throughout the entirety of the early access event and am just now realizing just how crazy this card gets. I always knew it was kind of good, but it just keeps coming back. And if you're really, really careful with how you play, you can make sure that your opponent has to block this in order to not die because it's coming through with so much damage. And then if they do block it, you make sure it's in your graveyard, safe from any potential exile removal, so that you can just bring it back the next turn. So part of using this card effectively is being really careful to use it in scenarios where your opponent just has to block it, so that they don't get a chance to use sorcery speed exile removal after they untap, it's already in the graveyard, and then it can just come back again the next turn. So 2 mana for a 3/1, gets +1 attack for every rat you control, and as long as you have 7 or more cards in the graveyard, can be anything at all. Threshold just counts every card in the graveyard. You can just pay 3 mana as you attack with any rat whatsoever, and it comes back onto the battlefield. Not only does it come back attacking that turn. So it's just this inevitability of just smashing every turn, and you just force them into a position where they have to deal with it every turn, and most instant speed removal or creatures that they're going to block it with isn't going to be exile removal, isn't going to be a way to exile it, so it's just going to keep going to the grave and keep coming back. But that's the key. You don't want to just slam this onto a board if they're going to Sunfall the next turn. You have to be very careful with how you play it, but as long as you're careful while still trying to be aggressive, this card will just win so many games for you. And the fact that we can play Mockingbird for 2 mana as another Marshstalker that now has flying, that also buffs up the original Marshstalker and gets buffed up the same way as that Marshstalker by everything on the field, is just wild. But in addition to the Marshstalker, this is Karumonix time to shine. So we're running 4 copies. We don't even care that it's legendary. A 3/3 legendary Phyrexian rat for 3 mana with Toxic 1. All of our other rats that we control have Toxic 1. And that's a nice little alternate win condition that will matter every once in a while, especially if you're up against a life gain deck. It's just extra gravy. But what really makes Karumonix insane, when it enters, you look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal any number of rat cards from among them, put the revealed cards into your hand, put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So every time you play a Karumonix, you're completely gassing up on cards. Most of the time you're finding 3. Sometimes you might find 2, sometimes you might find 4, but on average finding 3 cards with this guy, as well as putting board presence onto the board that they have to deal with, is just so much value, your opponent can't possibly catch up. Sometimes it's gonna whiff, sure, but at the very least it's always going to be board presence, and it's hardly ever gonna find you 0, right? So it's just insane. You don't even care if you've got one on the board already and you're slamming another one and one dies to the legend rule. It just gives you so much value, it's insane. So we're running the full 4 copies of it for sure. And we also have just 1 copy of Roaming Throne to make all of those triggers go insane. This is a little bit expensive for a deck like this. We want to mostly stay aggressive with things that cost 3 or less. But I think the 1 copy of the Roaming Throne is worth it because almost everything in the deck gets an insane amount of value off of Roaming Throne here. The Marshstalker being the one thing that doesn't, but the Karumonix gets double triggers, completely refills your hand, and everything else we're going to talk about does as well. So let's start at the bottom of the curve now. We've got 4 Gnawing Vermin and 4 Nezumi Linkbreakers because they're 1-drop rats, and I realized that just going as wide as possible is more important than having valuable rats, right? Just being able to get as many out as possible is important, especially when just a single rat, even if it's a crappy 1-drop rat, is enough to swing and bring online the Marshstalker and bring it back from the graveyard, which is really awesome. It's also enough to contribute to Valley Rotcaller, which we'll get to in just a little bit. But Nezumi Linkbreaker, when it dies, it gives you a 1/1 mercenary. When the Gnawing Vermin dies, it gives something -1/-1. So both of those death triggers are doubled with the Roaming Throne, which is really nice. And the Gnawing Vermin, when it enters the battlefield, we get to mill a player for 2 cards. And almost always we're going to mill ourselves, because the quicker we can get to that 7-card threshold for Marshstalker to start bringing Marshstalkers back, the better it is for us, because once we get there, we just have this inevitability where our opponent can never really catch up unless they're very clever and very careful. But also, even just the potential of possibly self-milling one of the Marshstalkers itself into the graveyard when we self-mill ourselves is awesome. And we've got some stuff in the mana base that also helps us with the milling, but we'll get to that later. The other 1-drop we're running is 4 Rat-outs. 1 black mana at instant speed, up to 1 target creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn, and you create a 1/1 black rat creature token with this creature can't block. What's great about this thing is, at its floor, absolute worst case scenario, this is just a 1/1 rat that can't block with flash for 1 mana. which is fine, because sometimes you're going to be in a situation where your opponent board wipes, and at the end of their turn, you can play rat out, get a rat, so then on your turn, you can just attack with that rat token now, and bring back the Marshstalker. So there's really techie, interesting ways you can use rat out because of that. But also, I mean, it kills the bat. That's going to be grabbing stuff out of your hand. It kills a lot of 1 toughness stuff. It kills any offspring token. It can just be used as a combat trick when things are trying to block and carefully calculating the math there. So there's just so much rat out can do. The only downside to rat out is it's not technically a rat, so you can't find it with Karumonix, but pretty much everything else in the deck is. So the amount of stuff you can hit with Karumonix is still crazy high, and it's fine. But we absolutely have to run the rat out. Moving on to the 2-drop slots, we already kind of hinted at the Valley Rotcaller here. 2 mana for a 1/3 Squirrel Warlock with Menace. Even though it's not a rat itself, its ability, when it attacks, each opponent loses X life and you gain X life, where X is the number of other squirrels, bats, lizards, and rats you control. That ability is super relevant. This is kind of another finisher, and 2 copies of the Rotcaller along with the 4 Marshstalkers are kind of a package of 6 cards that can just do a ton of damage and win races. And being able to make flying copies of the Rotcaller with your Mockingbird is also really insane. And even though it's a squirrel itself, it counts squirrels and rats. And everything in the deck is either a squirrel or a rat, with the Rotcaller being the only thing that's not actually a rat. And the Mockingbird itself coming down as either a copy of a rat or a copy of the Rotcaller, in which case it will be a squirrel as well. So every single creature will be counted when a Rotcaller swings, with the exception of if you get a token off the Linkbreaker, that's not a rat, that'll be a mercenary. But still, the triggers here that you can double up with Roaming Throne, and that can come in the air from a copy with Mockingbird, all insane. In addition, we've got 4 Tangled Colonies, 3/2 for 2, it can't block, but when it dies, you get to make a bunch of rat tokens if it took damage when it died, which is really, really good if you're just being aggressive and forcing their creatures to contend with your creatures and block. And then we've got Azure Beastbinder, another 2 mana, 1/3 Vigilance. When it swings, it can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or greater, so most of the time it can get in pretty effectively, but then it can target up to 1 artifact, creature, or planeswalker an opponent controls, and that card loses all abilities until your next turn. If it's a creature, it also becomes a base power toughness 2/2 creature. This is amazing for shutting down planeswalkers, for shutting down important artifacts, or for just turning their really good blocker into not a really good blocker. Just super, super good card, and until you see it in action, you don't really understand just how good it is. It's basically the removal in the deck. It's kind of part of our removal suite. The 3 Beastbinders, in addition with the 4 rat outs, in addition to the 4 rat outs, and then one other card I'll get to in just a little bit, kind of makes up our removal package. And it really does act as removal, because in this deck you just want to be swinging every turn with a ton of power coming at the opponent's face. So being able to turn their best creature into a 2/2 chumper is effectively the same as removal, but getting access to removal for artifacts and planeswalkers as well is kind of sick. And then it has Vigilance, so it can also still be a blocker and help you kind of win races that way too, which is really amazing. Moving on to the 3-drop slot, in addition to the 4 Karumonixes, which are a must, we have 2 Lord Skitter's Butchers. For 3 mana, it comes down as a 2/3. It can either give everything Menace, which is the main reason we want to play it, because if you have a board full of rats, giving everything Menace can just be a win condition most of the time. But it can also be a 2-for-1. It can give us a rat token if we need it. So if we just need more rats for the Rotcaller or for a Marshstalker or whatever the case may be, this can come down, 1 card gets us 2 rats, 2 creatures they have to deal with, 2 different creatures that can both attack and trigger the Marshstalker coming back. We force them to have to deal with both with individual removal spells a lot of the time, and that can be really good. But also, we can just sack one of our crappy tokens to scry 2 and draw a card, and the scry 2 is super, super helpful here because it makes sure we hit something super relevant. So if we're just completely out of gas and our board state isn't going to do it, we do have another mode here where we can draw and we can scry into what we're drawing. So Skitter's Butcher's really good in this deck. It's not as good as Karumonix, and I think 7 is the perfect number of 3-drops. So in addition to the 4 Karumonix and the 1 card we're going to get to in just a second, the 2 Skitter's Butcher puts us at 7 3-drops, and I think that number is perfect. So just a couple here to kind of pad out our 3-drops, and then we do have the 1 Skitter Sewer King being the other 3-drop. We are going to run just 1 because it's legendary, but it comes down as a 3/3 every single turn. It makes us another 1/1 rat, which means it helps us go wide for all of the reasons I've already stated that we want to go wide for, but it also gets us a little bit of utility here in that we can exile a card from a graveyard every time we make a rat, and that can be relevant against certain decks in particular. So really good card to just have a 1 of. I don't think it's quite good enough to have more than that, but absolutely want the 1 copy. So 4 Karumonix, 1 Skitter, and then the 2 Butchers to give us our 7-card package of 3-drops. And then in addition to the Roaming Throne, we do have another 4-drop card, but it's not normally going to be played for 4 mana. We have Pile-On. We have just 1 of these as kind of a test. I think it's kind of perfect in this deck. Obviously, it works super well with decks that are trying to go wide because it has Convoke. 4 mana, instant speed, destroys any creature or planeswalker, and surveils you too. So in this deck, a lot of times you can just tap a bunch of crappy tokens, play it for free, and not only are you killing their best creature or planeswalker, but the Surveil 2 actually matters in this deck a whole lot because you can put stuff in your graveyard in order to get to Threshold to start bringing Marshstalker back. Sometimes you might even be lucky enough to actually put a Marshstalker into your graveyard as well. So Pile-On's another one of those cards where you might even want to consider running more. You might even want to consider running a full play set, honestly. But we added just the 1-off as a way to have some hard removal in the deck, something to dig for if we have something super problematic. And it's been really, really good in testing, so I would not fault you if you decide to go up to 4 on this, but we went with the 1 and the 3 Beastbinders as sort of our 4 cards of hard removal, in a way, hard removal, and then the 4 Rat-outs as some auxiliary removal. And the deck just works super, super well. The mana base is kind of perfectly calculated, so be very careful about the mana. We're running 22 lands. We've got just 1 3/3 city. In the right scenario, this can get us a ton of mana to bring back multiple Marshstalkers in the same turn, which can be insane. A note that if you do that, you're going to want to go into full control mode if you're playing an arena, and you're going to declare your attackers first, and then you're going to tap your 3/3 city to get all of your mana to use to bring the Marshstalkers back. You have to be very careful to make sure that you have the mana in your mana pool at the exact moment that you need it. But just 1 3/3 city is worth it, I think. I wouldn't put more than that because you have to be very careful about having enough colored mana. And we are running a couple cards in this that will sometimes not be able to give you the colored mana you want. So 1 3/3 city. In a similar fashion, 1 Murex, it can color fix us when it first comes out, but it's going to be colorless for the rest of the game, so you got to be a little careful. But if we're up against control and we're out of gas, it can give us some extra value on the field that can sometimes be enough to get there. And since we do have Karumonix giving things toxic, sometimes we might get our opponent to like 7 or 8 poison counters, and a Murex is enough to just give us that little extra push in poison to actually win with poison. So I think the 1 Murex is worth it as well. And then we have 1 Cavern of Souls because it's a tribal deck. We can name rat, we can give something uncounterability, but we need to be careful because, like I said, there's already plenty of cards in the deck that won't be able to give us the colored mana we need for non-tribal stuff, whether it be the Mockingbird or, you know, the Rat-out or the Pile-On. We have to be kind of careful that we just don't have too many lands like that. So I think the 1 Cavern of Souls, the 1 Murex, and the 1 3/3 city is where we want to be. We've got 2 Fabled Passages along with 3 basics, 2 swamps, 1 island. In addition to those, we've got 2 Lilypad Village and 1 Mudflat Village, just as a little bit of extra value. The Mudflat Village can bring back one of our rats from the graveyard, or the squirrel if we want, the Rotcaller. The Lilypad Village, we've got 2 of those, and we can actually surveil too anytime a rat enters the battlefield. We can tap this in just one other blue mana and surveil 2, which is going to be another way to fill up our graveyard with things so that the Marshstalker can come out to play, and another way to potentially even dig into a Marshstalker to get it into the graveyard, which is nice. And then we've just got a bunch of dual lands to make sure we get the colors we need. So we've got the 4 Darkslick Shores, we've got the 4 Underground Rivers, and we are running 3 Restless Reef, because in addition to the Lilypad Village, Restless Reef is another thing that when we start to run out of gas a little bit later in the game, we can actually pay 4 mana, turn this into a 4/4 swing. Not only are we swinging with a 4/4, but we get to self-mill ourselves for 4 cards when it attacks, and that's going to be enough to get us to Threshold, to start being able to get back our Marshstalkers, to maybe even put a Marshstalker in the graveyard. So between the Restless Reefs and the Lilypad Village, we have 5 cards that, if we get to the late game and if we are running out of gas, which isn't going to happen very often, but if we get in that scenario, we can just start filling up our yard and start bringing back our Marshstalkers and turn what would otherwise be a board state where we're out of gas and at the mercy of our opponent into a board state that can just start really applying pressure and never let up and just get to a win. So the deck is insane. It's almost undefeated. I think I only lost like 2 games. I think I played it on my phone like 12 games in a row and lost 1. And then I played like 6 or 7 games in a row recording this deck tech for you and only lost 1 then. Almost undefeated. The deck is just insane. No one sees it coming. Everyone underestimates rats. And even though some of the big splashy rats that came in Bloomburrow aren't necessarily in this deck, I think this version of rats that just gets down to business and doesn't worry about all of those crazy splashy cards, just gets there so consistently. You're going to be so surprised at just how often this deck gets wins. It's insane. I recommend you craft it. Let's check out the games. I'd like to thank the sponsor of today's video, Wonders of the First. Wonders of the First is a brand new collectible card game similar to games like Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon, featuring a unique action-based resource economy that helps avoid pitfalls like Mana Flood or Mana Screw, and a battlefield containing multiple realms that unlock over time as you fight for control of the stones. The first 400 card set is called Existence and will launch to retail in the fall, but playtest team starter kits are available to order now. And they haven't forgotten about all you collectors out there. The game contains alternate borderless art variants, as well as highly sought after limited edition numbered prints, culminating in a 1-of-1 stone foil. And the best part is that the developers have a community first approach, with 8 print and play decks available on their website, as well as a version of the game available on Tabletop Simulator, all for free. For more information, be sure to check out wondersccg.com today. That's wondersccg.com. Alright, this looks pretty good. We've got 2 Restless Reefs, which is a bit of a bummer, but we can make it work. We'll keep 7. We're not going to start with the Mudflat Village and the Gnawing Vermin because we want to make sure we can play either the Beastbinder or the Rotcaller next turn. Well, now we have a Mirex. So maybe we do. Yeah. I'm going to play the Mudflat Village and Gnawing Vermin. Put some stuff in the yard. We'll go Mirex onto into one of our 2-drops, depending. I guess it would have to be Beastbinder first, right? Because we won't have access to blue until turn 4 otherwise. So we can do Beastbinder on 2, Rotcaller and Rat Out on 3. Would have loved to get the Marshstalker down first, but we need to be able to use that blue while we can. Is he just gonna remove everything we play and not play any board presence? Possibly. We might end up using that. Alright, hit for 1. I guess we'll get the Marshstalker down. I think we Restless Reef now while we can. Actually, on second thought, we should have Darkslick Shores, because now the Shores is going to come in tapped. So no matter what, all of our lands were going to come in tapped for the rest of the game. Well, at least all the ones we have access to in our hand. So we should have just played the Shores, and then at least been able to hold up the rat out this turn. But it's fine. We'll make it work. Stallman is stalling, man. Kills the thing that we can get back. Kinda love it. Alright, so we'll go Rotcaller, and we'll swing. We definitely want as many things on the board as possible before we play the Butcher. So it's good to save that for now. Because we could potentially use it to give everything Menace and just win, depending on what the board state looks like. We could also sacrifice the rat we get from Rat Out to draw a card if we're desperate. I think we only do that if we end up drawing another land. Alright, he's digging. He's digging. But if he's just trying to find an answer, that's kind of rough. Because that's a 2-for-1, right? Well, I guess it's kind of a 1-for-1, but tempo-wise, puts him in a very difficult position. Spending 4 mana to kill a 2-drop is, or even 3 mana to kill a 2-drop, is not great. Alright, we'll save the rat out. We don't really have any reason to jam it early. Alright, we will make a rat token. And we will attack. Slow and steady wins the race. Never thought I'd be saying that for Rat Tribal, but here we are. Alright, stall, man. Show me how you stall, man. Give me some of that nectar. Sweet nectar of the gods. Buckies. Tranquil Frillback. And what are you going to do with it? Gain some life, sure. My turn. Alright, we will start with Gnawing Vermin. And it is possible... Yep, we're going to be able to pull a Marshstalker out this turn, which is insane. Here we go. Maybe we hold you back. But we will target you. And we will auto-pay you. And let him move to blockers. That's fine. We don't even need to rat out here. We can hold it up. And maybe kill a 1 toughness creature on his side. Board's looking mighty good. He's gonna pillage again. Dude, this guy just keeps coming back forever. It's insane. It is absolutely insane. Alright, Virtue of Persistence. Sure, that's fine. That's your whole turn. So we're just gonna rat out and just make a rat. Just because. Just because this guy gets so much bigger. Let's pop you down to 9. He's just realizing he just keeps coming back forever. That's rough, man. That is rough. So rough. He's thinking hard. He doesn't have a way to deal with the Marshstalker, I don't think. Not forever. Not forever. Yeah, you're still dead. Unless you can kill both of them. Don't think you can. I mean, the Butcher is worse, right? The Butcher gets in for an extra 2. Crazy, man. Crazy. And we've got the Restless Reef still. We could maybe even self-mill our own additional Marshstalkers into the yard with the Restless Reef. I mean, he has to block the 6 power, dude. Insane. Alright, this hand is definitely keepable. We're gonna start with Fabled Passage. Pass the turn. Grab some black mana. And then we'll go Island. And I think we'll start with a Rotcaller, since he doesn't have any creatures down yet that we have to worry about. That being said, it is a Gruul deck, so who knows. Ansem the Wise, Heartfire Hero. And another Heartfire Hero. Sure. I guess we just Lord Skitter, right? And we swing, drain for 2. He can't really effectively block because of the menace. Not that he would anyway. He loses a hero. Alright, so he's at 16, we're at 22. We do need another black mana in order to play our Karumonixes, which is kind of a bummer. But at least next turn we're fine. We can play the Beastbinder and the Linkbreaker and be okay. Hey, there it is. Do we just go for it? With a Karumonix? Nah. I still think we do this. Drain as much as possible with the Rotcaller. While we can, before he kills it. I mean, he can double block and kill it. But I mean, he's at 11 and we're at 27. So I think it's worth it. No, he's just gonna take it. That's really good for us. I'm surprised he didn't double block with the Swiss Spear and the Challenger. Alright, he scoops it up. I'll take it. Alright, the land is a little bit wonky here. But I think we can make it work. We're going to keep 7. We are going to have to lead with the Fabled Passage, which means we won't be able to play the Linkbreaker on turn 1. Which is kind of a bummer, but not that big a deal. Pass the turn. We can at least go Marshstalker on 2, Marshstalker and Linkbreaker, or Rat Out on 3. Which will be really nice. Frontier Seeker. Sure. Finds nothing. Interesting. Alright, so we'll fetch a swamp. And we'll go Lilypad Village, Marshstalker. We are going to want to play Karumonix on 3 now, because we don't know when we'll next have access to a second black mana. We're definitely not going to hold off on playing the 𝑚𝑖𝑟𝑟. So we'll Karumonix on 3. Grab some gas. Unless we top deck a land. If we top deck a land, then that's fine. Alright, we'll gas up. Man, there's even more than we need. But we'll at least get to discard something into the yard to start getting a head start there. Alright, so we'll swing 3. And I think it makes sense to discard the Marshstalker, since we'll be able to bring that back. We just need 4 more cards in the yard, which, with all of this, I'm sure it'll happen. Alright, Darkslick Shores. I think we just start playing out all the cheap stuff, honestly. We'll Gnawing Vermin. And then we'll jam a Beastbinder. And we'll swing for 5. And he's probably got removal to use on it. Oh, he's just gonna take 1, make the fish. I mean, if we use up his entire turn for that, and he still takes a damage, that feels pretty good to me. We're only 1 card away from being able to bring back the Marshstalkers. Oh, and both Marshstalkers are in the yard before his sun falls. That is so, so good. We just have to decide how we do this now. I think we go blue, colorless, Beastbinder, and then we surveil. Oh, we don't have the blue for the surveil. That's okay though. We'll go like this. And we'll put the colony in the yard. And then I think we hold up the rat out. I'd like him to swing in with the 3/3 or something. Mana value less than or equal to the number of planes you control. That's unfortunate. But it's okay. The rat out gives us a rat at flash speed that we can attack with and get back the Marshstalker. Kill the rat. Doesn't look like it. So I think just do this. Play you. Name rat. Play. Play the Gnawing Vermin. I think we'll wait and play the Linkbreaker. And then we'll attack. And we'll do the thing. Seems pretty good to me. We still get to keep some value in our hand. We've got a 𝑚𝑖𝑟𝑟 online. He's already used 2 Sunfalls. We're gonna swamp here. He really wants that 𝑚𝑖𝑟𝑟 gone, so he must have sorcery speed removal. Guess we don't want to get too crazy, do we? 1, 2. I don't even think we want to bring this one back. Maybe we do. Alright, here we go. He kind of has to do something, right? He probably kills one. His best bet, exile the original. Well, exile one of them, right? And block another. Nah, he's still making blockers. They just still get to go back to the graveyard. We're gonna name Rat. Oh, he scoops. He scoops. We got him. Worst hand ever. We've only got 2 villages. There's only 3 total in the whole deck. And we got 2 villages. 2 rat-outs that we can't cast with mana from villages. 2 Mockingbirds that we can't cast unless we have something to copy. And then 1 other card which we do not have the 3rd land to play. So it's possible that everything in this hand is unplayable. Mulligan. This we can keep. Honestly, I think we probably toss back the Rotcaller. Having multiple Rotcallers is really good, but having one of them be flying is even better. And we need enough rats to make it good, so we don't want to toss back our vermin or a rat out. So because of that, we toss back one of the Rotcallers. It's possible tossing back the Mockingbird is the right play, because if they happen to kill our first Rotcaller before we can copy it, we won't have a second Rotcaller. Yeah, honestly, the more I think about it, the more I think the Mockingbird's the right play. I don't love it, though. We'll start with the Gnawing Vermin. Get some stuff in the yard. Start to build towards potential Marshstalker later on. Doing stuff. Alright, swing. We'll get down the Rotcaller. Pass the turn. Does he remove the Rotcaller? Three Tree City. We'll name Rat. I mean, I guess we just swing, right? We don't want to play the Mockingbird to copy the Rotcaller yet, because he could respond by killing the Rotcaller. And the Mockingbird's not going to get us another rat in play to get extra damage off the trigger anyway. So we'll do this. We'll play the second Rotcaller, and we'll hold up rat out. Actually, the Rotcaller counts squirrels as well, so we would have actually got more off the trigger. I still think it was better to be safer, though, and do it this way. Pass. Wow, nothing. I think we just rat out, just to make a 1/1 flash rat. Honestly. If he's got no blockers, the more stuff we have on the board to go ham with, the better. And this time I do think we hold off because we want to make a copy of the Rotcaller. He's definitely got to have removal for one of them though, right? He'd use it in response and we would lose. Well, I guess we wouldn't really lose, right? Because we get to choose when it enters. Yeah, we probably should have played it. He would have been at 8 right now. 3-1. That's not a great play, though. What does he do? Trade with the Gnawing Vermin? These guys have Menace. Yeah, that's rough. That is rough. I guess this is a squirrel deck now. Squirrel Warlock bird. It's a bird squirrel. He has to kill a Rotcaller at least. It's taking 13. Why would you ever candy trail? You are out of your gourd, my friend. We'll just make a rat. Now he has to kill 2 Rotcallers. Got 3 life. Doesn't even matter, bro. 15 before we even do combat damage. Holy moly. 2 tap lands is kind of awful, but we have a bunch of 1-drops and we have a Karumonix to gas up, so I'm gonna try it. We'll start with the Reef, because if we happen to top deck like 2 lands in a row, it's better to save the Fabled Passage, even though it's not likely to happen. Also, we want to make sure we hit our 3rd land drop, so thinning out the deck of lands with the Fabled Passage right away slightly decreases the chances of that. Alright, Vermin. Put a couple dudes in the yard, pass the turn. Hello. Hello, Tai. Archive, huh? It's a lot of tap lands you're playing with. Like I'm one to talk. Keeps it on top this time. Alright, we'll find a swamp. I guess we lead with the Marshstalker since we have it now. Because if he kills it, it'll just go right to the yard and we can get it back later. We've already got 3 cards in there. Seems pretty good to me. Oh, exile. Man, this guy's got all the tapped lands. So many tapped lands. Alright, we'll swing 1. And we'll start getting out our aggressive plays here, so we'll lead with the colony. If he had been getting down creatures and stuff, it might make more sense to get the Beastbinder down, depending on what his board looked like. But with the way he's been playing and how slow he's been, I think just being as aggressive as possible, just throwing down the creature with the biggest power, is what makes the most sense. Alright, Cornucopia. Lay down arms again. This guy's so lucky. This guy is so lucky. Alright. We want to get the Beastbinder down so we can shut off the Cornucopia. That'll be really strong if we can pull it off. But man, 2 lay down arms is so lucky for him. Lightning Helix, that's fine. We're eating through all of his removal. I am not worried about it. Try and land a Karumonix, unless he has a counterspell. He's playing blue, he could. No dice. Let's gas up. And let's get in for some poison counters. He's gonna get lost to the Karumonix, sure. He is running out of gas though. He is. The portico is lush. Lush porta potty. It's fine. How fine is it? It's very fine. Fabled Passage. We will find another swamp. Let's see, we got 4 mana. I think we want Lord Skitter. And let's move to combat. Exile, I guess Roxanne, right? Just in case. And let's attack. I'm really tempted to just keep everything in our hand. I guess we'll play it out. I think he's got a Sunfall coming. And I'm not happy about it. Alright, plays another Archive. And there's the Sunfall. I had a feeling. Alright, we're going to do double Beastbinder. We're going to shut off the Cornucopia. We're going to shut off the Sunfall token. He needs to turn it into a creature right now, or he will lose the ability to do it. Okay, he sees it coming. He sees it coming. So I guess we're kind of racing at this point. Could have like a Tidebinder or something, so might as well target them both to the cornucopia. Probably should have done this first. Mockingbird, huh? I definitely should have done this first. But I was worried he had spot removal. Kind of wanted to like bait out his spot removal before I put counters on things. Alright, we'll hold up the rat out. And to end the turn. So we could just double block the 4/4 with the Beastbinders. See what you got. Rat out. The Linkbreaker is just in case. Just in case he had some kind of buff or something, you know. Alright, I guess we really need cards, huh? I think we really need cards. So we will sack a creature, scry draw. We'll get a mercenary. Pass the turn. We have to keep putting him in a position where he needs to sweep while we still have some gas in our hand left to recover with it. So it's finding that sweet spot of not putting so much out that we're going to get blown out when he does sweep, but putting enough out that we force him to have to use it, get it out of his hand. Come on, TYTY. TK421. Slow and steady wins the race. We could have played the land, attacked with the Restless Reef. It's just too much. We have to force him to deal with every single threat. One at a time. I guess we just kind of do it, right? Because we're never really going to be able to play the Mockingbird on an empty board. So holding it back to recover after a Sunfall isn't super good. I gotta land. Not great, but not awful either. We don't need extra cards in the graveyard right now. I think it's better than, you know, not getting anything. So let's just swing with both here. See if he's got anything at instant speed. Lightning Helix, sure. Slowly getting rid of all of his value. And now we've got a Restless Reef here. I think we have to start utilizing it. Land. He has 39 cards, we have 33. I think we still want to self-mill. We want to try to find a Marshstalker if we can. We are halfway through our deck and haven't seen a Marshstalker. Well, I guess we've seen one, right? Got exiled. Come on, Marshstalker. Do we do it? Nah. We're winning with what we have. Alright, plays an invasion. Triggers the cornucopia, goes to 14. Instant or sorcery you own. Doppelganger. Oh god. You can't use it yet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, he can do 2 of 2 different things, which is scary. Does he doppelgang the 𝑘𝐫𝐴𝑉𝑬𝑜s? There's a Marshstalker. Put him at 8. But now things are going to get a little nasty. It's probably going to temporary lockdown, so we're going to hold up the rat out, just so we have another rat to attack with, to bring back the Marshstalker next turn. Theoretically, we could have lethal if we top deck a land, even if he kills our 2/2 here. Alright, 2 𝑘𝐫𝐿s, 2 cornucopias. He didn't lock down though. Huh. He didn't lock down. He's got Necropsy. He's got another Doppelgang. He's got 4 mana, so he could Necropsy. Not good. Instant speed, he can hit. He can hit the reef if it's a creature. So we need to not attack with the reef. Which is very tricky. Well, let me think. 3, swing. We could swing for 4, 5, 6, 7, even without the reef. Now we'll save the reef. It's 8. Now he has to Necropsy. The only thing he can kill is the Marshstalker, which we can bring back. So we kind of force him to waste it, in a way. And the Doppelgang can only be removable for things that cost 2 or less by copying the lockdown. Alright, so he gains a bunch of life. We hit for a bunch of damage. We pass the turn. I honestly think we're okay. I think we'll be okay. He has to sweep. He has to copy the temporary lockdown. How much mana does he have? 5, 2, 3. So he can Doppelgang for 3. He can get 3 lockdowns, 3 Cornucopias, and 3 𝑘𝐫𝐽𝑠. Which is kind of bananas. Like, he's getting a lot of card advantage. He is still able to play the Necropsy to kill the Reef if we turn it into a creature. So we have to be careful about that as well. Alright, we're going to sack the Mudflat Village. We're going to get back something with value. It's a little too late for the Beastbinder. I think Karumonix is just our best bet. And then we top deck one. Amazing. Wild. We'll play a Marshstalker. And we'll pass the turn. He probably has this because he can just make so many Cornucopias that his life total can get insane. But we do have access to poison with Karumonix. And the Risen Reef could mill him out. We'd have to start on that game plan pretty quick, because we've already dug ourselves a bit of a grave here and given him a pretty big head start as far as beating us by mill. So if we're gonna swerve to trying to mill him out, we got to do that quick. We can't do it if he's holding up a Necropsy. That's so much life, bro. But he'll run out of cards eventually, right? Another 𝑘𝐫𝐽𝑠, sure. White Sun's Twilight. Well, we'll do another one. We just gotta keep jamming them until he gets rid of the Necropsy. White Sun's Twilight is going to wipe the board. and give him a whole bunch of 1/1s, right? We still have to kind of pass. We don't really have a choice. He's got 15 mana. He could just make 13 1/1s here. Yep, that's what he's doing. That's what he's doing. If we have any chance whatsoever. It's gonna be by putting down enough blockers. Three, 4, 5, 6, 7. We just need as many blockers as possible. That's literally it. See if we can find some 1-drops. Oh, we completely whiffed. Ugh, we probably just lose because of that. We probably just lose because of that. Oh, we don't have a 1/1. Oh wait, we can just have it come in as the bird. Right. So now we can block 3 of them and only get 9 poison counters. Really? What a lame end. I mean, we gave him such a crazy run for his money, but we were slowed down way too much in the beginning. We needed to get an early aggro lead, and we just didn't get the right opening hand for that. But man, we tried. We gave him one hell of a run for his money. Alright, this looks wonderful. We'll keep 7. We hold up Rat out on turn 1. Actually, we'll play the Linkbreaker. In which case, I probably should have started with the Cavern of Souls. But it's fine. We'll make it work. Keep Cavern Bat. He's going to have to take the Rat out. Which is going to feel really bad for him. Eh? Alright, we'll go, you want the Marshstalker or the Rotcaller down? I think we want the Marshstalker. Let's go Rat. And we'll attack. Try to keep him from getting ahead on life with that Deep Cavern Bat by getting in for a little bit of chip damage. See what he's got. Innkeeper's Talent. Okay, turn it into a 2/2. Well, eventually we're just going to pile on it. So, not super concerned. For now, I think I'd rather get out as much as we can. So we'll do this. And this. And swing for 6. And then next turn we'll pile on. He's trying to get to the combo, isn't he? So I think we actually have to wait. Because if he's got a land and a Vraska in his hand, he just wins. If we can pile on in response, though, I think we can kill the Vraska. I think we can kill the Vraska. So we'll hold up Pylon. Does he have it? Doesn't have it. Interesting. Yawgmoth. Wait, it has Ward 1 now. Damn it. Ah, that screws up everything. We have to make sure he doesn't draw a card. So if he doesn't have the Vraska, he's trying to dig and find a Vraska now. Goes up to 17. Good grief. Let's go with, I mean, we just have to, like, try to get there. So let's do this. See if we can find a 1-drop. We'll do this. Self-mill. Attack for 9. And then just hope he doesn't have it, right? He can go up to 8. He can hit us for 8 with just the Deep Cavern Bat this turn. If he has another way to put a counter on it. Oh, there's the Vraska. There's the Vraska. He's got us. He didn't kill us. He didn't kill us. He just copied the deck offline and doesn't know how to use it. Oh my god. Unbelievable. Can we win? Can we win? I gotta think. Can we win? We go like this. We go like this. This Vraska's gonna kill us. So we gotta do it like this. We get Vraska down to 7. We end the turn. We kill his big bat. He does have the cottage, which could be a problem. plays a deep cavern bat. Well, in response, we're going to do that. Make sure you can't get any counters on it. And we'll get a rat. Are you going to attack with the Restless Cottage? You could. We have a big enough graveyard, though, that we can just bring it right back. Just gonna get back the bat. Replay the bat. Interesting. Very interesting. What we got in here? We have a Marshstalker in there. Oh god. This is gonna get really nasty. 1, 2, bring it back. 3. Yeah, we can't do everything, unfortunately. Hit for 20 though. He can prevent 8 of it. Yeah, he's gonna have to block. We just gotta go for it, man. We just gotta go for it. We just gotta go for it. We are almost there. We'll hold this in our hand to bluff. Turns the other Persistent Marshstalker. Sacks his other village. Sure. Dude, wild. Wild. Keep going. Wow. We go to 6. He has to do it again. He goes to 6, right? Hello. Okay, so he's dead. Oh my god. Let this be a lesson to you. When you use someone else's deck, watch the deck tech video so that you know how to pilot it. Because clearly this guy just copy and pasted the deck list and had no idea what he was doing. Thanks so much for checking out my channel. I'd like to give a huge shout out to all of my patrons over at Patreon. Without you guys, this channel would not be possible, so honestly, thank you from the bottom of my heart for all of your contributions. If you haven't yet, like and subscribe. The more likes we get and the quicker we get them, the bigger this channel will grow and the faster it will grow. I'd love nothing more than this channel to become something very special for you guys, but it's entirely up to you how fast that happens. Also, if you'd like more deck techs, that's somewhere over there. And if you'd like to see what else the channel's been up to lately, that's somewhere up that way. Also, subscribe, circle below, do all the things.